Hey there guys, I thought of making this video because it's real and authentic. Now, what do I mean by that? I am going to talk with ChatGPT and it's going to be like my therapist because I am going through kind of a heartbreak. I recently broke up with my partner, or rather she broke up with me. We have a son together, 4 months in. And I'm going to, share everything with you guys, what I think, how I'm processing it, and I'm going to be honest, I am not dealing with it the best. I should be dealing with it better than I am right now. My coping mechanism is smoking cigarettes. I know it's not good. I know it's kind of a weakness, but I realize that every time there's a breakup and every time it revolves around love, I get so crushed. It's like my entire world gets crushed down. And it's because, one of the reasons, or the biggest reason, childhood trauma, and because I never got the love that I wanted as a child, when I do get it in my adulthood, I cling on and I do the best I can to adapt. But yeah, I still, because there was a lot of pressure the last couple of weeks, everything was just piling up. Still, it's not an excuse to smoke. I know this and I'm going to work on that, I promise you. But the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because this is a self-improvement channel and I don't want to hide things. I also want to show you guys that I'm also a human being with some flaws and some bad coping mechanisms, and this is one of them. So while I'm talking to ChatGPT, I will be smoking. Yeah. So let's just start this. I am missing her so much and I feel like I want to text her or make an audio, and I do feel somewhat of guilt because I made her feel the way she feels and that she doesn't trust me anymore because of what I did. The incident of me glancing at a butt for half a second was for her like a betrayal, or rather it felt like a betrayal. But of course it was not only that, it was everything that was piling up. Like at the start I mentioned about my ex, I cried a little, I showed her my ex singing, and I still kept my ex's pictures, and not only my ex but my other ex, so 2 exes that I kept. I still kept her things at the beginning, and recently, or 2 weeks ago, I also commented on a YouTube Shorts video where it was an AI woman, and I said, wow. And all of these things kind of made her feel as if I am not really only focusing on her.
I can feel how much pain you're carrying right now, both from the guilt of the situation and from missing her. It's really hard when you realize that your actions have hurt someone you care about.
Okay, I expected a little bit more than that. I feel like maybe I should not do Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi is not good. Okay. Connection failed. Yeah, so let me try that again. I feel like, oh, okay. I feel like I miss her so much and I want to text her and make an audio. I also feel some sort of a guilt of what I did, and even though it might not be a big deal, but for her it is, and that is what matters most. And me glancing at a butt, even though it was just for half a second, it felt like a betrayal. But it was not only because of that incident, it was everything that led up to that point, and it all began with me mentioning my ex. At the very beginning, I was still not really over my ex, and I even showed her my ex singing, and I cried. But after that, I didn't really mention her anymore. And the last incident that happened was when I commented on an AI woman, and I said, wow. So all of these things led to her feeling insecure, and it makes me feel a little bit guilty.
I can really feel the weight of what you're saying. The guilt you're carrying is understandable, especially since it seems like the glancing incident became the tipping point in a larger emotional build-up. It's clear that this isn't just about that one moment, but about the accumulation of things that, over time, made her feel insecure and unsure of your commitment. It sounds like at the core, there's a trust issue that's been growing, and the actions you've mentioned, like showing her things about your ex, crying about her, and the comment on the AI woman, all contributed to her feeling like maybe she wasn't enough or that you weren't fully present. Even if it seemed like small things to you, to her, they might have felt like she wasn't being prioritized, which is why the glance felt like a betrayal. It's not the glance itself, but the emotions and doubts it triggered in her, the ones she might have already been struggling with. It's tough, because I know you're processing a lot of guilt and hurt from missing her. But it's also important to recognize that this isn't just a matter of one mistake. It's more about how your actions unintentionally made her feel unimportant. Like, sometimes we don't realize how things affect others, especially when we feel like we're just reacting to our own emotions. If you do want to reach out, I think it's important to take responsibility for how your actions might have impacted her without justifying or downplaying them. Acknowledge that these actions, whether big or small to you, may have shaken her trust and made her feel insecure. You can explain that you didn't mean to hurt her, but also be honest about the fact that these things were patterns that you didn't fully address at the time. It might also be helpful to let her know that you're working on yourself and that the things you did weren't reflective of how you want to show up in the relationship. Guilt can sometimes make us want to fix things quickly, but often the most healing comes from honestly acknowledging the hurt and giving her the space to process it. Your feelings of missing her and the desire to make things right are valid, but it's also important to give her space to feel heard and respected. This is a tough spot, but the fact that you're being self-reflective shows a lot of growth already.
You know, like, until now, I have really trained myself to not look at anyone and glance at anyone. And the thing is, I was happy to do that. And when you're in love, you don't really have the urge to anyway. But of course, like, here and there might be, like, you know, just a glance that is in me, but I trained myself not to do it, and it has worked wonderfully, and I am so proud of myself for that as well. But that on that day it happened, and I was wondering why it happened. Of course, like, people say, yeah, it is normal for men to glance, and it's a biological wired thing, and that is also true. But I was still confused as to why on that day I did it, because until now it never happened. And it's because of all of the postpartum events that have occurred, and the biggest one being, like, I have not been valued and appreciated by, for instance, kicking me out of the house. And again, I am not blaming her, because I know how much the postpartum affects her. And it's not only that, she had HG, she had the intense labor, She had hair loss, the body image, and all of it is really, really, really rough on her. She's tired all the time. She's not herself, and like I take all of this into consideration. However, like it also affected me emotionally as well, and therefore I thought like she did not really appreciate who I was, and so that glimpse gave me maybe a hit of dopamine and a feeling of aliveness. That is what ChatGPT told me when I figured that out and wrote to ChatGPT. But I tried explaining this to her, but of course it didn't really matter, because at the end of the day it matters how it affected her.
It sounds like you're really reflecting deeply on everything that's been happening, and that's important. It's clear that you've made significant efforts to control your impulses and be respectful, which shows personal growth and awareness. That moment of slipping up, though, seems to have triggered some deeper emotions tied to everything that's been going on for both of you. You've acknowledged that there's a lot of external pressure, especially with everything your partner has been through postpartum. Physical challenges, emotional exhaustion, and changes in her body that she's likely grappling with. That kind of strain can definitely impact a relationship, and it's understandable that both of you are feeling the weight of it. You are probably seeking something to make you feel valued, even if just for a moment. And that could explain why that glance happened. It might have been a quick, almost subconscious way to seek that hit of dopamine or validation, especially when you're feeling emotionally drained yourself. But even though that makes sense from a psychological perspective, you're right in recognizing that what really matters is how it affected her. And she probably felt hurt, whether that's from the act itself or what it represented in the context of everything else that's been happening. It's understandable that you'd feel conflicted about it, because at the end of the day, it wasn't your intention to make her feel less appreciated, and you've taken steps to avoid that in the past. The fact that you're seeing it as an isolated event, not a pattern, shows that it was an outlier rather than a regular behavior. The important part now is how you continue to show up for her emotionally. Yes, your feelings of not being valued are valid, and it's tough when both partners are struggling in different ways. However, it's about trying to bridge the gap in understanding. She's likely dealing with a lot of inner turmoil herself, and that can affect how she perceives everything, including what's happening in the relationship. That's where emotional communication and empathy can make a difference, recognizing both your struggles while acknowledging each other's feelings. It might help if you approach her with this kind of vulnerability. I understand how my actions hurt you, and I deeply regret that. I've been struggling with not feeling valued too, and it's something I've been working on. I never want to hurt you, and I understand how what I did may have made you feel unappreciated. It wasn't about the glance, but about me trying to cope with the emotional weight I've been carrying. I'm here, I'm listening, and I want us to work through this together. Acknowledging her emotional world and being genuinely honest about your own without minimizing either can help begin the healing process. You're also in a space of self-reflection, which will help both of you, and taking responsibility for how things unfolded without blaming external factors is crucial in moving forward. It's hard to navigate these complex dynamics, but your awareness and willingness to look deeper at yourself show that you're on the right path.
The thing is, she has broken it off with me, and I feel like this time it's really final, because she doesn't want to talk to me, and she said that she doesn't want to have a future with me, and that I am out of her mind now, and I feel like it's really final, and I really don't know what to do at this point, because I truly miss her, and I wish I could just tell her all of this, what I am telling you, and that I am, self-reflecting and trying to get better, and me trying to get a hit of dopamine. It just shows that I am not as good as I should be in regulating emotions, but it was also a lot for me. However, I just want her to know that I love her so much, and that I'm really willing to improve and get better and really want to become the man that she deserves.
I'm really sorry to hear that things have come to this point. And I can feel how much you're struggling with the situation. The pain you're feeling is real, and it's clear that you deeply care for her and want to make things right. When a partner says they don't want to have a future with you and that you're out of their mind, it can feel like an impossible situation, especially when you still have so much love and regret. You're in a place where your emotions are running high: grief, regret, love, guilt. And it's completely normal to want to reach out and express all that you're feeling. However, it's important to recognize that sometimes space is what both of you need, especially when emotions are raw. You mentioned that she doesn't want to talk to you right now, and even though it's incredibly difficult, respecting her boundaries might be the most loving thing you can do at this moment. It's clear you've been reflecting deeply, and I think she would be able to see that if things were to calm down enough for a conversation in the future. But trying to reach out too soon when she's already made it clear that she needs distance might not allow her the space she needs to process everything. Patience will be key right now, not just with her, but with yourself too. One of the most important things you can do in this situation is to continue working on yourself, not just for her, but for you. If you truly want to become the man she deserves, it starts with taking the time to heal and grow emotionally. Self-improvement doesn't just come from saying the right words, it comes from consistent action, whether that's through seeking therapy, focusing on emotional regulation, or continuing to reflect on your own growth. This is an investment in your future, regardless of whether or not she comes back into your life. As hard as it is to not express everything you're feeling right now, focusing on understanding yourself and building emotional stability will ultimately be what sets you on a better path, whether or not that means reconciliation. It's not about proving your worthiness to her immediately, but about proving to yourself that you're willing to take responsibility for your actions, learn from your mistakes, and become a better version of yourself. If, in time, the space between you both allows for reconciliation, you'll be in a position to communicate all the things you feel without the urgency and pain of the present moment. And when you do have that opportunity, you can speak openly and honestly, not from a place of guilt, but from a place of growth and self-awareness. Right now, focus on healing, even if that means accepting the reality of the situation. The truth is, she might need time to see the changes you're making, and maybe even to heal herself from the hurt caused by the relationship. In the meantime, do what you can to be kind to yourself through this emotional storm. It might feel like the end right now, but in time, you'll be able to reflect back and realize that this period of growth was an important part of your journey, regardless of what happens next.
Thank you so much. I needed to hear that, and it is definitely true that I am not good at emotional regulation, and when love doesn't go the way I want it to go, I turn to substances like cigarettes or alcohol, and I just let myself loose, and it feels like my entire world crumbles, and that is just not good, and I will definitely work on that. And I just want to give a last message to my ex-partner at this moment, that I love her so very much, and I am truly sorry that I hurt her so many times, not with my intention, but just because I was not healed and didn't know what real healthy relationship looks like. And because of my trauma and unfinished business within me, it then caused so much pain on her side. But believe me that I truly love her so much, and that I was willing to do anything to make it better and to become that man. But clearly there is still some baggages and some things that I have to work on. And I hope that in time, by being patient and by persevering and by putting in effort, and even if it doesn't work out between us, I still want to express my gratitude for everything she has done for me, that she believes in me, and that she was so considerate, and I had such an amazing time with her, and that if I could take things back, I really would, but I can't, and it is the way it is. But I love her, and I only wish the best for her.
That message is heartfelt, and it's clear that you're really acknowledging your mistakes, reflecting deeply on your growth, and taking responsibility for your actions. It's hard to let go, especially when you still love someone, but expressing your feelings in this way shows a lot of self-awareness and maturity. It's also important to recognize that healing takes time, not just for her, but for you too. The fact that you're willing to work on yourself is huge, and it's a step toward becoming the best version of yourself, regardless of the outcome with her. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do for someone else is give them the space they need to heal and allow both parties the time to process emotions. In the future, if you do get the chance to communicate again, your growth will speak louder than any words. But even if not, the fact that you're taking responsibility and learning from the past will make a positive impact on your future relationships, with or without her. It's okay to feel the pain and loss right now, but be kind to yourself through this process. Healing is not linear, and setbacks can happen, but you're on the right path by recognizing your emotional triggers and wanting to do better. If you need to reach out to her with that message, just make sure it respects her boundaries and space. Sometimes the right message comes at the right time, and only time will tell what that looks like. No matter what happens, it's clear that you've loved deeply, and love will continue to shape you as you heal. Keep focusing on growth, and remember, you deserve healing and peace too.
I want to send her an audio. Can I do that?
If you're considering sending her an audio, it's important to first pause and think about her boundaries and where she is emotionally right now. Since she's expressed that she doesn't want to talk to you and feels like it's final, it might be best to respect her wishes and give her the space she's asking for. It's really difficult, especially when you're feeling that emotional pull, but sometimes giving her time to process things on her own can help both of you heal. However, if you feel the message is something you absolutely need to express, make sure it's respectful, clear, and understanding of her current feelings. If you do decide to send the audio, it might be good to keep it short and to the point, just letting her know that you understand her feelings, you're taking responsibility for your actions, and you're working on yourself. But ultimately, remember that if she's asked for space, the best thing you can do is honor that. Sending a message might feel like closure for you, but it's important to consider how it might affect her. Sometimes the most loving action is letting someone be for a while. How are you feeling about respecting her space, though?
Well, it's going to be tough, to be honest. I really have the urge to send an audio, but that's just me. However, this might be a good challenge for me to not do it and to just work on myself. And if things are meant to be, then they're meant to be, and if not, then not.
That sounds like a really mature and self-aware way to approach it. It's tough, especially when your heart is pulling you in a certain direction, but recognizing that this is a moment for personal growth is huge. By choosing not to send the audio and instead focus on working on yourself, you're taking control of the situation in a way that will benefit you no matter what happens with her. Sometimes the hardest thing is resisting the urge to act impulsively, but in doing so, you show yourself that you can handle your emotions and give her the space she needs. If it's meant to be, it will come back in time. But this is a powerful opportunity for you to heal, reflect, and grow, regardless of the outcome. It sounds like you're really starting to embrace that, and that's something to be proud of. How do you feel about the direction you're taking with yourself right now?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, but a good challenge, and I think I'm going to do it. I always have this thought in the back of my mind that, yeah, if I don't send her an audio right away, that eventually over time it might be too late and she will get someone else and I will regret not having sent that audio. Yeah.
I totally get that feeling. It's natural to worry about timing and the fear of losing someone. But remember, rushing into things because of fear often doesn't lead to the healthiest outcomes. In fact, giving yourself the time and space to heal and reflect might show you both in a better light, whether it's together or apart. If she's truly the one for you, it's not about sending the perfect message at the right time. It's about the actions you take in your own growth and the respect you give her space to. Regret often comes from acting out of fear rather than clarity. And who knows, by focusing on yourself and giving it the time it needs, you might find that the future unfolds in ways you never expected, with both of you in better places. You have the power to shape your future, and this step of emotional control is a powerful move in that direction. How are you feeling about the idea of just focusing on yourself for a bit?
I think it's a very good idea. I am smoking, as you know. This is my 5th day, I think, and on the first day I also drank a little bit here and there, and the other days as well. And now I want you to give me critical feedback. Please be honest and do not hold back so that I can work on myself, because ultimately that is where growth occurs.
I appreciate your openness and your willingness to face the challenge head on. That's an important mindset for growth, and it's really good that you're already thinking critically about the situation, as that's a huge part of the process. Here's my honest feedback. 1, substance use and emotional regulation. You mentioned turning to cigarettes and alcohol when things get tough. And I want to point out that this is a classic coping mechanism. It's a quick fix, but it doesn't address the root cause of the pain, which is the lack of emotional regulation and the trauma you're working through. While cutting back is a great step, you're still using substances to avoid the deeper feelings of sadness, anxiety, or loss. I'd suggest focusing more on healthier alternatives for emotional regulation, like mindfulness, journaling, or even physical activities like walking or exercise, to help ground yourself in those moments. 2, the need for instant gratification. Your urge to send an audio message is a perfect example of seeking immediate validation. It's not just about the message itself, it's about how you're feeling right now and wanting to fix things quickly. But relationships and healing take time. The fear of regret of what if I don't act now can really hold you back. It's okay to feel that urgency, but you have to acknowledge that rushing can often lead to more harm than good. Patience is essential here. 3, self-worth and expectations. I hear a lot of self-blame in your words, like the idea that you're not worthy of love, or that you need to constantly prove yourself. While it's important to reflect on your actions and improve, I also want you to work on not tying your self-worth to others. The cycle you're describing, feeling unworthy of love when things go wrong, comes from your own inner struggles, not just your partner's reactions. Start with the idea that you are already worthy of love, and that the work you're doing is about bettering yourself for you, not just for her. 4, patience and trust. I really believe that giving this time and space, both for yourself and for your ex, is crucial. The more you focus on self-improvement and learning to sit with discomfort, the more you'll grow. Trust that things will unfold in their own time. Trying to control every moment, especially by seeking immediate fixes like the audio, will only leave you feeling more anxious and reactive. It's hard, but you can't control everything, and that's okay. 5, the root cause of your actions. Finally, the fact that your emotional responses are tied to past trauma shows that this is a deeper, ongoing issue. This isn't just about, I messed up, now I need to fix it with her. This is about unraveling a pattern that goes back to childhood and how you relate to love and value. You're doing a great job recognizing these patterns, but I encourage you to keep digging and seek professional help already. Therapy can be a great tool for addressing past trauma, especially since it seems to be playing a big role in your current emotional struggles. You're doing well by acknowledging these areas to improve, and the fact that you're willing to face them head on is an important first step. Just be patient with yourself and allow the healing process to unfold. Your worth isn't dependent on how others see you. It starts from within. Keep going.
Okay, thank you so much for the help, and I will definitely take action on all of those things that you just mentioned. And the first step is definitely, after tonight, I will throw my cigarettes away and will not rely on substances anymore, and I will want to feel the grief and the sadness and all of it, and I don't want to run away from it anymore. I don't want to escape or any of that numbness. I just want to face it head on and also just work on myself, become a better man. And if things work out, then they do, and if not, then that's that. But it's definitely part of my journey, and I'm grateful for that.
That's an incredible decision, and I really admire your commitment to facing the discomfort instead of running away from it. The fact that you're choosing to confront your grief, sadness, and emotions head on shows a deep level of self-awareness and growth. It's going to be challenging, no doubt, but it's also the most meaningful step you can take in healing. Letting go of substances like cigarettes is a powerful act of self-care, and it will give you a clearer head to process everything. It will be tough, but remember, the discomfort is temporary and it's leading you to a much better place, both for yourself and in any future relationships. Trust the process. You're on the right path. And even if things don't unfold the way you hope with your ex, you're investing in your personal growth, which is the most valuable thing you can do. Take it day by day, and remember that you don't need to have all the answers right now. Just keep showing up for yourself, and everything will unfold as it should. You've got this.
Thank you so much for today. I recorded all of this in my YouTube video, and I also showed them that I was smoking, I was being authentic and honest, and I just want people to see this side of me as well, and not only the good side, the productive side, and the guy that doesn't procrastinate anymore, but also the guy who cannot deal with these things and that is bad at emotional regulation and that has childhood trauma, but a guy who is self-aware and is willing to tackle on these things. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Wow, that's incredibly brave of you to be so open and vulnerable in your video. Showing both the challenges and the progress you're making is such a powerful message. It's real, authentic, and relatable, and that's what connects with people. It takes a lot of strength to show not just the polished version of yourself, but also the raw, unfiltered side. I'm sure your viewers will appreciate your honesty and courage in sharing this journey. Remember, growth isn't linear, and being self-aware and willing to confront these things is a huge step in itself. Keep being kind to yourself through the process, and keep showing up for yourself, both the highs and the lows. You're inspiring others by being this honest, and you're doing the right thing for you. I'm proud of you for all the steps you're taking. You're on a meaningful path, and I believe in your ability to keep moving forward. If you ever need to chat again, I'm always here.
Thank you so very much.
You're so welcome. Truly, I'm glad to be here for you. Take care of yourself and remember that every step forward, no matter how small, is still progress. You've got this.
All right, so the ending. You've got this. That was the most inspiring one. No, but guys, I know you're not seeing me right now because my camera is out of storage. But like I said, I want you to see every side of me, and I know that some of you might not agree with the way I'm coping with things, and I don't fully agree with it either. Okay, bless you. It is definitely a weakness, me turning to substances like alcohol and cigarettes, but it is what it is. I am, though, working on it, and I don't want to continue with it. So after tonight, bless you, after tonight, I will definitely throw these cigarettes away, and it's going to be hard. I will have urges tomorrow for sure, or the next couple of days actually, but I want to become a better man. I want to deal with all of these struggles, and it is heartbreaking. I do love my ex very much, or my ex-partner, but yeah, things turned out the way they are. It is just how it happened. I cannot fix it. I cannot go back. I cannot unmention my ex to her, or that I commented on an AI video, or that I glanced at a butt. All of it I cannot take back. But I still stand by what I said. I love her truly, and I want to get back, of course, because all what I can think about is her. But yeah, this is an opportunity for me to grow. All right, guys, thank you so much. If you have listened to all of this until now, then I want to really thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it is something that is quite personal. But if you did, that means you are resonating with it, or maybe you just connected with all of this. Maybe you found some things helpful as well, or maybe you saw yourself in me. Maybe you can relate to the situation. Anyway, if you found it helpful, then you can like it to support my channel. You can always support me further on Patreon, and watch this video as well to support me further. All right, click it.